welcome. Coming up in this week's show are races 2 and 3 from the A1GP meeting at Brands Hatch. You're watching the Lotus on Track Elise Trophy. We're starting today's programme with a 12-minute sprint race in which 41 cars are currently making their way to the track. Jamie Stanley and Chris Randall take the front row. Let's take a look at the full grid.
Jamie Stanley is the man to beat at the moment in the Lotus on Track Elise Trophy. He won race 1, he starts on pole for race 2, but tough opposition is right there with him. There's Chris Randall, Steve Williams, Ben Pitch and Scott Cruikshank, all of whom are very quick drivers right at the pointy end of the grid. Pat McBennett has proved to be rapid this year. We know that Doug Setters and Mark Gooday are both quick as well. And there's Christophe Lissonde, one of the drivers from the European Trophy Series, and he is starting in that top 20 as well. James Knight, one of the leading drivers in the standard class, lining up 21st on the grid. Opposition to him is going to come from the likes of Paul Harding, for example. And lower back on the grid, there's Joanna Hodinot, who lines up 40th in this enormous grid, set to fill the Grand Prix circuit here at Brands Hatch, with Peter Trott, the last driver, to slot into place just behind Rob Myers. Rolling start, unusually then, for the Lotus on Track Elise Trophy. Pole position driver Jamie Stanley, Chris Randall with the unique Europa lining up alongside him then. Second row of the grid has Steve Williams on the inside as the lights go out. The race gets underway now as the cars accelerate down towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. A very good start by Jamie Stanley, though, puts him into the lead. Steve Williams is second as they climb up towards Druids. Williams on the inside there. Chris Randall trying to brave it out with him. And then in fourth in the 2:11 there, you can see Scott Cruikshank just securing the place as they go through the hairpin for the first time. But Jamie Stanley already is edging away just a little. He's leaving this battle to rage on behind him as the cars drop down towards Graham Hill Bend for the first time. Enormous grid. Such is the popularity of the Lotus on Track Elise Trophy. And Chris Randall then now down in third place, regular race winner, won at Silverstone. First time out with the Europa, but now he's under real pressure. He's got Scott Cruikshank right up behind him as the cars turn their way onto the Grand Prix loop for the first time. Down towards Hawthorns, you can see the way that Jamie Stanley is getting away now from in second place Steve Williams, then Chris Randall third, and Scott Cruikshank in fourth at the moment. Scott Cruikshank, the man that leads the Lotus Cup Europe part of this race. Burgeoning Lotus Cup Europe, also part of the Lotus on Track Elise Trophy races this weekend. It has its own standalone calendar. A pretty big entry as well is being received for future rounds. Stanley, though, dominating up front, but Steve Williams, if anything now, is coming under increasing pressure once again from Chris Randall, who has been really brave around the back part of the circuit, and he's now right onto the tail of Williams once again for second and third places. Scott Cruikshank is fourth, in fifth is Ben Pitch, and then sixth there, number 1, 2, 3, another of the Lotus Cup Europe cars, this in the hands of Jonathan Walker as they drop down towards Clark Curve. Sean Bicknell going through in number 19. Now Sean, of course, was very rapid at Silverstone at the start of the season until he spun away what looked like a rather secure first race win. Made amends later in the day, but here he's being a little bit breathless at the moment as he tries to find a way past the likes of Connor Finn, and also there you can see number 39 Simon Deacon through Paddock Hill Bend. Sean Bicknell for the moment in the Audi engine car, unable to wriggle away any higher up the order, but he's going to have a go. Is he on the inside there going up towards Druids? Can't find a way through, but this is Sean Bicknell's view round the hairpin. Replay of dramas at Stirling, some 72, Matt Franks getting caught up, just being avoided. Has the presence of mind to get the car out of harm's way as quickly as he possibly can. Matt Franks tacked into a spin, gets back into the race, albeit a fair few places lost. Now this is the battle still between Steve Williams and Chris Randall. They're shaking off Scott Cruikshank. There Jonathan Walker goes through. And now Sean Bicknell is coming under increasing pressure because now you can see right with him as the car accelerate once more down towards Hawthorn is Pat McBennett. Pat McBennett in the optimum performance and handling. Back to Elise right on the tail now of Sean Bicknell. As there another challenge being made on the inside, heading up towards the right-hander of Westfield. In fact, just about everybody in the race has got someone to battle against at the moment. Connor Finn under pressure, and that's Cruikshank who's lost it coming out of Westfield. The car ends up in the middle of the road. Bicknell avoids him, makes contact with Pat McBennett in the process, and McBennett has exited stage left. He's demolished one of the marker boards. We've still not seen the car. There it is, limping back into shot now. Pat McBennett has had a wild old ride there going through Dingle Down. How much damage has been done to the car? He's brought a gravel bed with him. Look, you can see all the stones, all the gravel being showered across the circuit. That's going to make life treacherous for those behind. But Scott Cruikshank has clanged the barrier there in big, hard fashion, and that means, crab-like, the car is limping round. Here's the replay. Comes out of Westfield. He's got it wrong already. He's on the grass. Bang, into the barrier. The car skittles downhill and just avoided by Sean Bicknell, who, because he jinked to his left, ended up right in the path of Pat McBennett, who really had nowhere to go. This is Bicknell's view. There's Cruikshank heading for him. There's the contact. Pat McBennett glances off the side of him, and it looks as though both Cruikshank and Pat McBennett are likely to be retirements at the end of the lap with differing amounts of damage. Now Chris Headlam here, under pressure from the Lotus Cup Europe, spec 211 of Jonathan Walker, going up towards the hairpin at Druids, through the right-hander now. Jonathan Walker now getting into the slipstream almost as they went up towards the corner of Chris Headlam. Is he going to be able to make an attack as they drop down to Graham Hillband? Not quite close enough. If he gets a good run coming out of Surtees, that is his golden chance now to think about making a pass. Headlam with the wiper on, goes up towards Surtees, and this tight left-hander brings them onto the Grand Prix part of the circuit. Big crowd here at Brands Hatch as the Lotus races support A1GP this weekend. There you can see a fight going on within Lotus Cup Europe. David Sear ahead of Christophe Lissandre. Those two nose to tail here, look, as they make their way onto the Grand Prix loop. Lissandre in the wheel tracks now. Is he going to be able to find a way past David Sear as they come down towards Hawthorns this time? He's lost a length forward too, so he's just a little bit too far back there to think about making the pass. So Sear for the moment hangs on to the place. But this is the man of the weekend so far, Jamie Stanley. Underrated driver is Jamie, very quick years ago in Formula 4. He doesn't do a huge amount of racing these days, but whenever he is behind the wheel of a car, not behind a clipboard in the paddock looking after the administration of this series, he is very quick indeed. You can see the lead he's built up over Steve Williams now, who is sliding out of Druids and having to make this car very wide indeed to keep Chris Randall at bay. Now Randall normally is the man that ends up on the top step of the podium. So far this season, yes, he's had one win at Silverstone, but he's not dominated in the fashion that he has done on previous occasions, and Steve Williams here in the Elise is keeping the Europa at bay. New car, remember, this year for Chris Randall. There's still more to come from it, of course, but Chris, an experienced driver in Lotuses, in historic Group C racing, in GT racing, makes his way down towards Hawthorn. Ben Pinch is there in 4th place, but Jamie Stanley is edging ever closer to 2 out of 2 so far this weekend. Sets the car up now for Westfield. He's under no real pressure, maintaining concentration though all the time, so he doesn't just doze off and make a tiny error. He climbs up through Dingledale and now into the run towards Stirling's out of Sheen Curve. Now this, the fight for 2nd place. Look, Steve Williams keeping at bay Chris Randall. The pair of them just about together as they go towards Stirling's now. Randall not really close enough there to think about making a pass. Needs to be another length or so nearer. And there, making an effort on the inside as they dive up towards the left at Surtees. The production spec cars. Number 13 is Matt Bartlett, who does go through, gains a place in the process. Beauties of this series is the amount of squabbling that can go on right the way through the order. Paul Harding trying to fight back then, as here the fight for 2nd place comes over the line. Williams trying to defend as a mechanical warning meatball flag goes out for somebody in the background. Chris Randall then turning his way through Paddock Hill Bend. He challenged as they came over the line. It didn't pay off for him, and so now once again he is back in the wheel tracks going up towards the hairpin. Steve Williams now far too far back to do anything about Jamie Stanley's race lead, but 2nd place here, defending resolutely from Chris Randall, would be a very good result indeed. Chris Baker, number 12, turns his way out of Clark Curve, sprints up over the start and finish line with a rather dog-eared right front corner. There you can see that mechanical warning flag, which may actually be for him because of the damage on the front of the car. Turns his way now through Paddock Hill Bend. Well, his driver, Chris Baker, he has responded to the flag. He's slowed down. You can see, yes, he's being overtaken, climbing up towards Druids, or about to be overtaken. That car looking a bit battle-scarred around the front right. Turns his way into the corner, trying to squeeze up on the inside of him there. Doug Setters goes through. Lots of quicker cars now set to put a place on Baker as they drop downhill. He's getting in the way just a little bit. Martin Johnson there, number 43, goes round the outside of him. Elise's, Exeges and 211s running together. Very varied grid in the Lotus On Track Elise Trophy. John Rast, number 142, there in the orange car, another of the Lotus Cup Europe drivers. He's got a very good international representation of Lotus Cup Europe, all of whom have come to practice. Many of them racing here for the first time this weekend. For 2nd place, though, Williams versus Randall. Once more, they turn into Clark Curve. Chris Randall needs a good exit from the corner, but it just seems as though, although he's good under braking and good through the corners, he hasn't quite got the speed in a straight line, hasn't got the power compared to Steve Williams, and therefore the gap opens up only by a length or two, but it opens up once again as they come across the line. Steve Williams then hangs on to his second place as now he heads up towards Druids once more. In third place is Chris Randall. And this is a replay of Simon Phillip just running out of road, coming through Surtees onto the Grand Prix loop, just avoiding the barriers, and therefore carrying on in the race as the cars here in this midfield battle sprint up towards Druids. Got Doug Setters in the middle of all of this. There's John Rouse in the orange car, desperately trying to find a way around the outside of him. Martin Johnston and Harry Steegmans ahead of them. Harry Steegmans there in the 211, keeping Setters, and then John Rouse at bay, and that looks like Paul Harding, who is heading for the pit lane. It is. The race leaders, though, are on the last lap, and it's going to be 2 out of 2 this weekend for Jamie Stanley. The real question mark, though, is over who is going to finish in second place. Steve Williams has it at the moment. There is Ben Pitch in fourth as they head down towards Clark Curve. Checkered flag at the ready, and Jamie Stanley has yet again dominated in the Lotus on-track Elise Trophy. He comes across the line then now to score a race win, and only now into view comes this fight for second place as Steve Williams does hang on to second place, and Chris Randall chases him home to finish third. So Jamie Stanley takes the race win ahead of Steve Williams. The gap between the two at the flag over 7 seconds. Chris Randall third ahead of Ben Pitch with Chris Headlam, and then Jonathan Walker, the winner of Lotus Cup Europe, in 6th place. So the drivers make their way towards the podium, and a very happy Jamie Stanley on the top step. Now there's still one further race to come for the Lotus on-track Elise Trophy. That and a chance to hear from the drivers at the end of this race coming up right after the break.